Data from the real world is of course messy, especially if you deal with, for example, HTML or PDFs. And that's why I want to show you in this video a lot of cool overviews how you can convert PDFs or HTML into Markdown. Because with Markdown we can work a lot better. So let's just start with the simplest ways of them all. Let's just say you want to scrape the LangChain documentation. If you press on LangChain and we come onto the documentation, like from LangGraph for example, you see that this data is of course messy. This is not good structured for a LLM, so basically this is not perfect. And right now I want to show you how we can get the HTML and then how we can convert this HTML into Markdown. If we simply come into NLN and press create new workflow, you can press plus, we use a manual trigger, then we press plus once again, we use a HTTP request node, you can press on these. Here we use get as the request, then we need to use the URL, so we would simply copy this URL here, we come back into NLN, insert this URL, authentication is none, all of this works. If you simply press that step, right now you get in the table you see all the HTML code from this web page. And of course this is gigantic. This is a little bit of a mess. If you go here on JSON, you see that you also have all this data. And basically here are the links and everything is included. This is a little bit of a mess, to be honest. Basically, this is the first thing how you can extract all of this as HTML. Also with this HTML, you can eventually make a rec application or something else. But if you really want to scrape, then maybe also want to extract like links and so on, I want to show you something cool, because Markdown works a lot better. You can press plus and now you can simply type in Markdown and you will find this thing right here. Convert the data between Markdown and HTML. You can press on these, then you want to have HTML to Markdown of course, and the HTML is of course the data that comes here through, so you can insert it, and if you press that step, right now you have Markdown. If you come on JSON, this is now perfectly structured for an LLM. So you can also simply use this, for example, to train your rec application and it will work a lot better if you have good data on this web page. If you just have a lot of links, of course, you can scrape these links. You can add, for example, an AI agent node and simply extract all of these links. But basically, this is how you can make HTML to Markdown extremely fast. And with this Markdown, you can train rec applications. If you have good content in it. If you only have links, congratulations, right now you know how to scrape them. Another way is this right here, Firecrawl. Also with Firecrawl you can basically do the same thing. If you use here, for example, once again this documentation and you press start for free, you can simply get all of this back into Markdown. So right now you see we have this whole documentation into Markdown, and with this Markdown format we can train an LLM of course a lot better. This works really great. You can also use JSON, so basically this is something that you could eventually use for a rec application. It works a lot better. You can also make a summary, you can use AI to extract sublinks and so on. This is how you can get Markdown. The next thing, a lot of people like to use tools like Julia. Julia works especially for HTML to Markdown, so this is also something that you could consider. And right now I want to show you how you can do this with PDFs, because a lot of the time you simply have a PDF and the PDF is never ever perfectly structured. I like to use this Doggo PDF as an example because I think this is a great example. Here you have pictures, you have text that is not good formatted. This is basically, it's a mess. This does not work great for an LLM, so you see also to copy this stuff doesn't work great. These pictures are included. If you have PDFs, like please make sure to make these PDFs into a good format. And what you can do in order to make good formats out of these PDFs, you can use something like this. You can simply type in PDF to Markdown, and if you simply throw this thing in here, you can make Markdown out of these. Boom, there you have it. Here is your whole Markdown, and with this Markdown you can work a lot better. If you press on edit, you see this right here is the perfect Markdown, and you can use this Markdown, throw it into a text file and upload it, for example, in a rec application. This is something that works great. A lot of other people also like Llama Index. Llama Index also works great and is especially for LLMs. If you come here to parse, you can simply do the same thing. If you have a URL that links to a PDF, you can give the URL here. And if you have your document, you can upload your document here. And then you can also give some specific information. Should it be fast? Should it be balanced? Should it be premium? What to parse if you press on it. Here you give, so for example, some target pages. If you have target pages, then the job options if you want, and show advanced settings. Here on the advanced settings, you can also type in a little bit more stuff. Maximum 100 pages, for example. Bounding box top padding. If you want to have specific formats, make all HTML elements visible, so you can also try this with HTMLs and do a lot more. But I want to make this fast. You can simply press parse. You will wait a tiny bit and then you will get everything back into Markdown. And this Markdown also will work once again a lot better, just like this thing in Markdown here. So boom, there we have it. Right now we have perfectly structured Markdown. And if you see it right here, we have basically nearly the same thing, but I think Llama Parse does even a better job to extracting the information exactly perfectly structured for an LLM. So if you have a messy PDF, please try to use Llama Parse on this online webpage. It's really that easy. And in the next video I also want to show you how you can use Llama Parse, but in a Google Colab notebook. This Google Colab notebook has a lot of advantages, because with this Colab notebook you can extract even more. Not just 100 pages, you can go up basically however you want. At a specific time point, I think you have to pay. But then I have also included something really cool. If you have a gigantic amount of data, you can also compress this data. You can make a summary and train the LLM on the summary. This is also really, really great. So in this video, you have basically learned that real world data is messy. A PDF with pictures doesn't work great. A web page with a lot of links doesn't work great. You should make this into Markdown and then you will get answers that are a lot better. And if you want to extract information from an HTML page, first of all, you can scrape this page. You simply use this N8N workflow, and then you should also use Markdown so that the LLM finds exactly what it needs to find. All of this HTML code is not perfect for the LLM, and if you want to scrape all the sublinks, of course you know how to do this. You can also simply throw an AI node on it and extract the information that you want. For example, every link. So basically, this was a 2-in-1 tutorial. You can scrape HTML web page with these workflows. You can make this HTML into Markdown, and if you want to go on with these links, you can do whatever you want, or you can simply train a RAG application if you have good data. And you can do the same thing with PDFs. I gave you a lot of options, so choose your option wisely. And in the next video, I want to show you how we can use Llama Parse in Google Colab and also eventually make a summary. Then you have everything that you need to find data, to extract data, to give good data quality so that you get good RAG applications. See you in the next one.